Alright guys, what's up? We are back for another video. In this video, I'm going to be doing a Q&A. So last week I threw up an Instagram question and answer on my Instagram page, and I got a few questions from you guys to answer here on the YouTube channel. So I got about 10 or 11 questions, so we'll go through them and I'll answer them for you guys. So first one, how heavy do you want to get this off season? So I actually just had this conversation with my coach 2 days ago. Right now we feel that this is the time for me to have my big off season where I put on the rest of the muscle I need to be successful in the rest of my bodybuilding career. I'm 31 years old now, so I'm not like old in terms of bodybuilding by any means, but obviously we need to take our health into consideration, and I don't want to be in my mid-late 30s trying to put on size and doing these big off seasons where I need to get super heavy. It's not great for our health, and that's always the biggest priority. So we're probably going to try to push up to around 340 pounds this off season. That would be my heaviest weight by 10 pounds. I've been to 330 before and it wasn't that great looking. So right now I'm around 320, still have really good body composition, lines of my glutes, legs, got abs, pretty much lean everywhere except for my lower back. So we're going to push to 330 first, obviously, and we're going to try to keep it as tight as we can, and then, you know, stretch things out as long as we can, make sure we make slow progression, gaining muscle that sticks, not putting on too much body fat. And where I'm not competing until 2025, we have a lot of time to do that, and I'm excited for the end result, because ultimately our goal is to be 300 pounds on stage the next time I compete. The last time I competed, I was 280 pounds on stage, so that would be a pretty massive difference. Okay, question number 2. Tips for someone who is competing for their first time. Starting prep in late February and will compete in June/July in classic physique. So the best advice I can give for a first-time competitor before you prep would be to make sure that you do a proper off-season leading into the prep. Like, you always want to have your food intake as high as possible and your cardio as low as possible going into a prep. That's going to give you the most room to work with in terms of keeping yourself in a calorie deficit for the 16 or 20 weeks that you're prepping, which is obviously what you need to do to get shredded. So that's probably the most important thing. Another piece of advice I would give would be, don't worry about having any cheat meals the first like 8 or 10 weeks that you're dieting, because you really do not need them. You don't need to stay full. You don't need to like carb up or anything like that. Get the body fat off first, right? Don't waste your time, because anytime you have a cheat meal and you still have body fat on, it's literally pointless. Like, you still have fat on your body that you need to burn off as energy. Having a big meal full of carbs and sugar and fat is not going to help that process, right? So stick to your diet, grind it out for the first 8-10 weeks, get lean, and then start working refeed days and cheat meals here and there, like when you really want to fill up and you can see the difference when you do those high carb days and you see veins coming out, training, performance goes up. That's when you know your refeeds and cheat meals are purposeful. You don't want to have them, you know, just because you feel like you want them. It's a little bit different if you're just a lifestyle athlete. You know, one cheat meal a week is okay. Like, you know what I mean? You gotta have balance and all that stuff. But when you're getting ready for a show, like, throw balance out the door, because it's only gonna hold you back, right? For this 16 or 20 weeks, your goal is to do everything you can to be as lean and shredded as you can for the show. All the yummy food and junk food is gonna be there after. So don't worry about having any cheat meals. So that's my advice for first-time competitors. Question number 3. What is my favorite workout split? So I would say, for me, probably just a bro split. For where I'm at this point in my career, I'm pretty good at training, and I'm pretty good at like demolishing muscle groups. So I find for me, like, once I hit a muscle group, it pretty much needs a full week to recover before I can train it again. And now a lot of that reason is because I am training one, you know, muscle group per day. So if I go train chest, it's like 5 or 6 exercises for chest. So obviously I'm destroying my chest. It's going to need a full week to recover. There's nothing wrong with doing like a push-pull legs, or, you know, push-pull legs, push-pull, where you're hitting, you know, the same muscle group twice a week. You just have to do a little less lower volume per workout if you're going to increase your frequency, just so you don't overtrain. So that's a style that works as well. I just have a hard time doing exactly that, is pulling back volume in my workouts, to keep that in mind. So I would rather just go in, just blast the body part for an hour, hour and a half, and then get out of there. That's what works best for me. Throughout all my years, what was my worst cycle and my best cycle? So that's an interesting question. My worst cycle was probably the first one I ever did, because I was too young and I did too much. It was just testosterone, but I did too much. And even though I got a lot out of it, knowing what I know now, I look back, because I know how important like your first cycle is now in your bodybuilding career. Like, ideally, you know, you get as far as you can naturally, you learn a lot about how to train for your body, what your body likes nutrition wise. You know, you get your supplements figured out, get the health supplements in place, and then you do a cycle, because you'll get so much out of a very small amount, and then you set yourself up to get a lot out of a small amount for a long time. Therefore, you maximize your gains and keep your health as best as possible. So that's the best way to do it. And I definitely didn't do that. Now, I didn't do anything extreme when I was younger either. I did this first stupid cycle, took a break, and then kind of figured out what I was doing and did things properly after that. So that was probably my worst one, just because the timing was terrible. My best one, it's hard to say, because I've done a lot now for prep and muscle building. I would say probably my last prep from the 6 weeks I had from Toronto to Vancouver, I tried some things I haven't tried before in terms of like how many compounds I was using, and the dosages were a lot higher than I would normally use. And I really liked the result that yielded. For what we did, we could only do it for a short period of time because it was on the extreme side of things, but I mean, it definitely made a difference. But I would only recommend that to someone who was in my situation, who had to make drastic changes in a short period of time at the pro level. You know, there's a lot on the line. I knew the risk I took, and thankfully everything turned out okay. But that was probably the best one in terms of the immediate results that I got. How many Olympia bodybuilding shows have I been to in person? 0. I think I've only ever watched one pro show, and that was the Toronto Pro in 2019. The 2 other pro shows I've been to, I competed in, which was the Toronto Pro in 2023 and the Vancouver Pro in 2023. Any experience with stretch marks and how to get rid of them or reduce them? Yeah, I mean, when you start growing really fast when you're younger, you're going to get them, and genetics plays a big part in that too. So some people are more prone to getting them and them being more prominent than other people. I honestly didn't have a big issue with it, luckily. And then I found as I got bigger into this for longer, the less I noticed them, the more they kind of just went away from when I was younger. So give it time, it will go away. Thoughts on BPC-157 and these other new healing peptides? Do you think I'm going to grow a second head in 10 years? Do I try it? The studies are on rats, and my shoulder's taking forever to heal. It's healing with the work I'm doing. It's just taking forever. I think they're great. I know I've actually never used a BP157 myself, but I've had a lot of clients that use it, and always successful. Always helps in reducing pain and helping with the injury recovery. There's oral BPC157 too that obviously helps with injuries, but it's also going to help a lot with gut health if you have any digestional issues. But if you want something that's going to help with like a ligament issue or a muscle issue, then it's better to use injections and inject directly into where that issue is. That's what's going to give you the best result with that. But yeah, they work. They're great. Should I take apple cider vinegar? I found it was affecting my teeth. I don't think it's like necessary. I don't use it myself. You know, if you have a digestion issue and this helps it, then maybe it's worth it. But if you don't notice a difference with or without it and it's affecting your teeth, then I would say drop it, right? Best thing for acid reflux, stomach acid. So if you have a lot of acid reflux, you're probably eating something consistently that you shouldn't for the most part. But again, if you're just eating to gain muscle, you're obviously eating a lot. And sometimes, that can cause an issue too. But you can always just drop acidic things in your diet, like a lot of times like hot sauces, a lot of coffee, really citrusy like fruits and juices, and even artificial sweeteners can have an impact on that. Eating regular oats versus organic oats, like regular oats, can cause acid reflux. So it could always be dietary. Betaine HCl is a supplement I like that helps a lot with indigestion and acid reflux in my experience. So check that one out. Betaine HCl, it's good stuff. Do you find taking magnesium and zinc supplement gives you effed up dreams? Yes, I do. I take magnesium biglycinate every day before I go to bed, and anytime I take it, I have pretty crazy dreams, and anytime I don't take it, I don't remember my dreams at all. So there's definitely something to that. I actually don't take zinc, so I can't speak on that one. Tips to improve sleep and any supplementation suggestions regarding that as well. So I think sleep, for the most important thing for that is like your routine. Our bodies work off routine, and our bodies are on a clock, and the more consistent we are with that clock, the more consistent you'll respond to it. Like I know myself, I get up at 7 every morning and I go to bed at 11 every night, and once 11 o'clock comes around, I'm like falling asleep on the couch. So as soon as I go to bed, I just fall asleep. So getting on that schedule is probably the most important thing, that's going to help you. This can be very hard for like rotational workers and people who work night shift, day shift, that kind of thing. I have a lot of clients that are in that situation, and it definitely affects their sleep, and it definitely affects their results over the long term. Not being able to sleep properly, not being able to get the recovery you need. It throws off hormones and everything like that. So sleep is super important. Another thing is to make sure that you don't have sleep apnea or something like that. That's, obstructing your sleep, or if you're snoring a lot, that can really interrupt the quality of sleep you get. So it's always going to get a sleep study to make sure that you're actually sleeping how you should and getting into REM and all those things. I know I have a CPAP machine that helps with my sleep apnea, so I wouldn't be able to sleep without it. And that is like been key for my recovery and keeping me healthy throughout my bodybuilding. So those are a few things. As far as supplements go, yeah, I mean, I think like magnesium is good to take. I think that could definitely help. There's lots of supplements out there, that can help with sleep for sure. I really don't take much myself. I've tried melatonin and those things. They don't really do much for me. But I think most of all, it just comes down to like, your lifestyle choices, honestly. Last question. Is there any real way to make your waist look less blocky besides making your upper body bigger and dieting? You said it, right? Waist to a certain extent is genetic. But a lot of times if someone had a spurt of time where they were overweight or eating a calorie surplus for a long time, you can actually stretch your waist and it can cause a blocky appearance. You see this a lot in like really heavy powerlifters or really heavy strongman competitors that did that style of training for years and then try to diet down after to get lean. And they get lean, they lose body fat, but you can just see like their muscular walls and everything are just bigger. So, I mean, you can work on it. I would say, being really particular about your ab training and what you're doing, being super particular about your diet, keep your digestion on point, probably start eating like smaller meals more frequently so that your stomach doesn't have to stretch to accommodate big meals. So definitely avoid binging and things like that. Even taking some digestive enzymes with some of your meals to make sure that you're digesting them like really fast and efficiently. There's waist trainers out there too that I think can play an impact if you use them properly over the long term. You can do vacuum, so that would be included in ab training. There's lots of different vacuum protocols and ways of practice that you can do that I know I've seen it make an impact on bodybuilders' waist, so that's definitely something to consider too. So, all right, guys, that's it for the Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing it. We'll probably do some more of these. But yeah, guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you like the video and if there's anything else that you guys want to see. But other than that, stay tuned for more content coming your way. Thanks for watching.